So what do you think about my shirt? You can get this transfer on our store under the patriotic design. So go to the DTF ready to print transfers, click on the little, there's check boxes at the top to filter the topics and tags. So I think that fits me in many ways, if you know what I mean. All right, so as you see, I am drinking regular old coffee. I have for years drank energy drinks, and you know, all these people, oh, those are horrible for you, and all these things, and mainly 5-hour energies and some others. I wasn't ever really big on like Monster and some of those, and you know, the Prime drink that's out there now that everybody raves about. But recently, I gave all those up, and it wasn't because of all these social media. I've seen all these posts of things like supposedly a picture of a kidney after someone had, or a liver or something after someone had drank energy drinks every day for 5 years or something. You know, just stupid stuff. I've never really found anything concrete other than, you know, it has caffeine, they are loaded with vitamins and all that. But recently I learned that many of the B vitamins are synthetic, and something like 40 to 60% of people on Earth cannot metabolize it. And then I learned that the B12 that's in a lot of these drinks is made from something called cyanocobalamin, and that is made from hydrogen cyanide, and it's just a synthetic man-made chemical. And I've never been a real big fan of putting chemicals in your body. I'm not a big fan of medicines to a degree, because all these things are just chemicals that are doing things to your body to control how it reacts and things. And I learned about this and started looking into it, and sure enough, all these 5-hour energies, Prime, Monster, all of them have this stuff in it. I'll put the word on the screen right here. It's cyanocobalamin. And so I have gone back to just plain old coffee. And as you see there in the beginning of that video, I've said this before, I like my coffee like I like my beautiful wife. She's blonde and hot. So that's how I like my coffee. A lot of sugar, though. I wish I could get away from that, but I have to cover up the taste of the coffee. I don't like the taste of just coffee, that bitter stuff. Anyway, and then this afternoon I'll be tired and sleepy, and I'll probably have to drink another coffee, because I used to drink a couple energy drinks a day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. And I had a neighbor when I lived in Louisville who came over, and she was telling me about something. She said she was diagnosed with excessive daytime sleepiness. And I was like, what's that? She said, well, no matter how much rest I get and no matter what I'm doing in the afternoons, if I try to sit down for a minute, I can't hold my head up and I just want to get to sleep. And I thought, I didn't know that was a medical condition or a diagnosis you could have, but I definitely have that. And I mean, I remember one time I was trying to take a medication for something I had, or you know, some condition or something. I don't know what it was, but it just made me, I couldn't hold my head up most of the time. And then in the afternoon, it was just over the top. I was a zombie. So it will be interesting to see how my body handles not having those energy drinks and trying to do it with just coffee, and try to get through the days a little better. You know, when we first moved into this office, there's a lot of construction down the road from us. A lot of construction. I mean, this area is being developed like mad. And I don't know what they're going to do about the traffic, because it's already kind of a nightmare here, because there's certain roads that, you know, like going east to west, because of all the swamps in this area, there's only like 3 or 4 roads that get you like from over there to over here. So everybody has to use those same roads. And but anyway, they haul a lot of fill for the land to raise it up above, you know, because it's flat. When it comes downpours, or if we get a tropical storm or something, the water has nowhere to go. So every 60 seconds, a dump truck goes by here, rumbling and roaring. and I couldn't make videos during the day. That's why some of my videos back this summer and springtime, you see that I did them at night, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't work. It was every 60 seconds, wrong, and it was a nightmare. Well, that went away. They finally finished that work they were doing, and now it seems to have started again. So hopefully it's not as bad, but we'll see how this goes. So at the top of the video, you saw my shirt. Like I said, it fits me in more ways than one. This is one of our patriotic designs that's out on the site. So if you go to the DTF transfers, ready to print or ready to press transfers, you'll find this one and some others, and we're going to continue adding to those. Getting ready to add Valentine's Day designs, which will be followed by St. Patrick's Day, and well, Mardi Gras will come right behind Valentine's Day, but Valentine's Day, Mardi Gras, St. Patrick's Day, and then a bunch of other designs that we'll be adding on that as well. So you can order the transfers, or you can go in, you'll be able to go into our designer and choose a template and apply it and make it however size you want or anything. Because some of these, I have one customer that bought the Christmas tree. It was like a Christmas tree of dog paws, and it's a very tall versus wide. And when she got it, she didn't think about the fact she was putting it on a hoodie, so she had limited space above the pocket to here, and it was very large. So hopefully we'll be able to help you with that and make things easier for you to either drop those designs on a template, or with a shirt, so you can see what it's going to look like and order it the size that you need, or be able to just order the transfer, be able to put your own designs on there, anything you want to do. Our stretch furs, DTF transfers as we call them, are super thin, super soft. They're very stretchy. I had a piece of material, I'm not sure what I did with it, but I stretched it to the point, I stretched the material out and kind of destroyed the material, and it never cracked. So it's amazing. It's a soft matte finish. Matter of fact, I mentioned yesterday on the video that we started another company to run side by side with this one called Treeline Customs, and this was our first official decent sized order. Had a local guy, owns a company that does pressure washing, and you can see how bright those colors are. They're incredible, really soft, blend in well, and we even put them on some like a performance shirts. I don't want to say dry fit because it's like the Nike brand, but the dry fit type shirts. We have I think these were Sport Techs, and they applied really well, really lightweight. You can barely feel them on a shirt. The bigger the design, the bigger the one piece design. We have one design's a New Year shirt. It's a Santa. He's like on a snowmobile on the beach with a cocktail and says, see you beaches next year. And that one is a one large design, and if you put it on a thin shirt, you will feel it more because it's one big piece, like put a great big piece of HTV on a shirt. So no matter what you're going to do, you're going to feel the shirt. But when it's broken up like this in letters and pieces and everything, it's incredible. It is really impressive. Now, as far as how we're going to market that company, we're still working on some of that. We expect that most of the business for that company is going to come from local businesses, like this one. This was a friend of my barber. Yes, I go to a barber. And believe it or not, you can mess this up. I tried for a while. I thought, you just buzz it, go to Great Clips somewhere and let him buzz it real quick. They can mess this up. It's a strange thing, but anyway. So this guy bought some of our excess shelving and stuff that we had in storage, and he came in, bought it. He was like, "Well, what do you do?" So he ended up ordering a bunch of shirts and hoodies and jackets and hats and things. And I got a new hat press, and I'll talk about that in another video. But I learned some things about pressing hats that was a little different, but it was kind of funny because so far, I've sold off a bunch of crap that we had in storage that we're not going to use. I thought we might use it one day, and so I bought it. It was all one big lump sum of shelving and stuff that I bought, these merchandise displays. So I got rid of all that stuff finally, and he bought some other shelving that we had that I wanted to get rid of. And so some other people have come in, picked up a few things here and there that I have on Marketplace, getting rid of. And I told Tammy, I said, I'm going to have to start going to Goodwill to get things to put on Marketplace, because most of our leads are coming from people who are coming in here to pick up things. But a lot of the businesses here are service-oriented businesses, and so they have shirts, they need business cards, rack cards, all of those kind of things. And we're still trying to figure out how we're going to market that. I'm doing a little bit of marketing in a local Facebook group that has like 175,000 people from our area and beyond. Keep in mind this place, like Lee County where we live is about 700, maybe 750,000 people, and down here they call it season. So during season meaning that's when the snowbirds come in, it's snowbird season. When it's flourishing, right now it's a little bit lower probably than normal. Last year was really low because it was just right after the storm. But when things are hustling, bustling around here, that the population pretty much doubles for about 4 to 6 months. And traffic's a nightmare, people can't drive. So anyway, there's a lot of local business to be had. And we have sold some online already, doing different things. I'm getting ready to add a bunch of products to that site. So a lot of the transfers that we offer here, we'll probably offer them as finished goods on that website. And then this afternoon, I'm hoping to line out a few of the different sales channels that we might be able to work through. And so we're looking at Etsy, TikTok Shop. I have a friend that works for TikTok in that area, and I'm going to reach out to her again and talk about that. And then, I think Walmart.com is a potential. I could sell on Amazon, although I don't know how effective it'll be. I'm probably going to explore it and look into it, but it's like I hate to contribute to someone who is doing a lot that's hurting my business, and that's I have a real problem with that. And it's not just competition. They're like I said yesterday in the video, they're bringing this stuff in from China almost risk-free, selling it dirt cheap, and really hurting a lot of small American businesses. And it used to not be that way. For a long time, they were a marketplace for small businesses, and I thought they were doing a pretty good thing. But a lot of that has changed, and a lot of that's affected by the economy too, because as wallets get smaller and purses get tighter, people are looking for less expensive alternatives. So one of the things that I think we have a lot of potential with here is these, like this guy that has this pressure washing company. He needed, I think it was probably about, I think overall it was probably 50 or 60 items he purchased. He purchased hats, jackets, hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, and that's a pretty small run in the grand scheme of things. It's a decent little sell. But for him to get that done at a lot of other places here would have taken 6 or 8 weeks, because there's several screen print shops in the area, and everybody tells me it takes, if they want a half a dozen shirts, it takes them 6 to 8 weeks to get them, because a lot of those shops are doing 5,000-10,000 shirts at a time for big contracts and things. That's still a pretty small contract in that market. I used to know guys in West Virginia that had a huge screen printing company. They got very large. Unfortunately, I think one of the partners fell to drugs. There goes one of those dump trucks I was talking about. And they ended up eventually shutting down. But they did a lot of things, like they were doing all the beach wear and all the beach shops up and down the East Coast. They did concerts. I think one of their first big ones they did back in the 90s was like in 95 when the Rolling Stones went on tour. It was a big tour when they came back out, and they did their apparel. And those are big screen print companies. Well, actually, there was another company in West Virginia that was, I think they're owned now by a company in Wisconsin or something, but T-Shirts International, we used to do their IT work for them, and they are huge. So those are big. And so the shops around here are doing what to us are big jobs, but they're really small in that industry kind of thing. And, we're going to figure out where that business goes and evolves to. We're able to produce those things more on demand than screen print shops are. So, and we have some, limited capability in-house. So we'll have a company set up that will be able to do things for us, like business cards and stuff. And I got to figure out the design side of it. One of the challenges that I have now is that when we built our other companies, I was a visionary, and when it started out, I did a lot of work myself. We had some employees that took care of shipping orders and cutting the vinyl down, all those things, and then I developed the website. I did the custom code and programming for it. I did the product pictures. I did the product development and testing. I did all the marketing, the social media, the customer service, much of the accounting work, the ordering. I would come in at like 5:30 in the morning for a long time and look and see what needed to be cut and pull it and get it ready for the people doing the cutting, and just kind of led all those efforts. And then and it didn't take very long for us to reach cash flow point with that company. Believe me, it was incredible. And once we reached that point where we could hire more people, I slowly backed away from those things and put people in those positions. And I became really a visionary. So and then, by the time we left, I had 140 employees. And so I had 140 people rolling out my visions. And being in this environment now, I have to do all these things myself. And it's been exhausting, it's been tiring and just stressful, trying to get there. Dealing with, it seems like we have more vendor mistakes now than we did a few years ago, and that's probably due to labor shortages and people not caring about their work and things like that. I don't care what anybody says. If you take a job working for someone and you are lazy or you don't want to work, you don't think you're getting paid enough or whatever, you agreed to take that job, you should do your best in that job and either advance or get out of it and go somewhere else. Don't do someone a disservice by not doing your job well. So you saw you probably got a little glimpse of the coaster that I put my coffee mug on. I wanted to show it to you. It says, sometimes later becomes never. Do it now. And, it's funny because, Tammy talks, I'm a procrastinator. I fully admit I'm a procrastinator when it comes to things I don't like to deal with. Like I hate dealing with insurance, those kind of things. I hate it. I can't even describe how unproductive that is for me to deal with. And so I procrastinate on those types of things. When it comes to work, there are certain things I procrastinate on. And I saw a meme the other day that said something like, I procrastinate because no matter how many times I do it, I still get the job done on time. When I was working in IT, I used to take on all these projects, keep myself buried in work, and I would, just excel at that and come in on time or early and under budget. And, that's just the way I've always operated. I've never been someone who wants or needs a very detailed project plan. When I get really kind of frazzled and out of sorts, I make simple lists to do and check those things off as I do them. And it brings a certain amount of calmness to me when I get in those situations, because when I can look at a list of 8 or 10 things that I made and see that I knocked them out and kept my focus, and was able to concentrate on them, I'm a lot better off. Otherwise, I kind of keep track in my head of what I need to be doing and everything. And lately I've had some struggles with attention span. It's been really difficult. I think there's just so many things going on. The stress of the business and the stress of the market and things like that have affected me. And that has been challenging, because I'll be sitting here working. I'll sit down to do something. Whether it's making just creating a new page or a product on the website, and then 30 or 40 minutes later, I realized that I did 10 other things except the thing that I sat down and started on. It's not that I sit down and forget to do it. I start on it, and then in 30, 60 seconds, I'm working on something else, and I do 10 different things before I realize I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And so keeping that focus is hard, and I'm hoping a little bit of caffeine from coffee will do that for me and help me out. I have been sleeping better lately, and you sleeping more and getting some rest. You can see I don't have quite the bags under my eyes that I used to have. Those dark circles are probably just because it's morning. It's great in the summertime because when we get out in the sun, these things go away, and I actually have color to my face. Anyway, so today I'm going to work on some of those things. I'm going to work on some more designs, transfers for the site. Hopefully the next day or two we'll have all those Valentine's Day, and then quickly followed by Mardi Gras designs out there for the transfers. If you order custom DTF transfers, make sure you click on the link for the upload guidelines and tips and review that entire page. There is a lot of good information out there. I had someone yesterday upload a transfer. I looked at it and it was just not very good quality. It looked like they used a low resolution image. It's not going to work out very well. So they're going to have to adjust that or whatever. We also have a utility on the site where you can upload your image, and if it can, it'll tell you what the resolution is. It'll give you the dimensions in pixels, width, and height, as well as the dots per inch, the DPI. That alone doesn't dictate that a transfer will be good, that an image will be good enough for a DTF transfer. There's other things on that page you have to look at. But if you upload an image and it says it's, say, 500 by 500 pixels at 72 or 96 DPI, that's not going to cut it for a transfer. It's going to be really low resolution when it prints. It's going to be fuzzy and blocky, probably have a white halo around it. So make sure you go through that page and look at it in detail. I'm going to have some tutorials coming out on that. And by the end of this week, I am going to start on the Photoshop course. And I'm hoping within 10 or 12 days or so, I'll have the basic course put together for you to teach you these things and how to look at them in Photoshop. And the principles that you learn in Photoshop can be applied in other programs too, because they work the same, all the same principles, like Inkscape versus Adobe Illustrator and different things. Once you understand it, you can go from one to the other. I showed my daughter some things in Inkscape the other day, and it was very easy for her, once I explained it to her, to understand that a lot of the functions are just like what you use in Design Space. You just need to know where they're at and exactly how they work and what they do and why. Why is a big portion of my teachings, to understand why you do certain things a certain way. But you could take this course on Photoshop, you could apply that to Paint.net. Paint.net is not the website, it's a program. It's called Paint.net. You have to Google Paint.net download to find the source for that. It's a great Windows program. There's one called PhotoPad, NCH PhotoPad for a Mac that I found looks pretty decent. I haven't worked with it a lot yet. But and then you've got GIMP, PicMonkey, some other paid solutions out there, Affinity Designer and all those. These programs, Pixlr is another great. Pixlr is a web-based photo editor. It is the closest thing I've found to the same functions in Photoshop that you can use. When I need to do something, if I'm somewhere, let's say I'm at a relative's house and they want me to help them with something and they don't have Photoshop, I go to Pixlr, Pixlr, and use that because most of the same functions work the same way. It's laid out very similarly as Photoshop, and it's web-based, and you don't have to log in or anything. You could just open it up and use it. It is quite impressive. So, but we're going to get started on that. Try to keep these businesses going, and we're going to fight to the end and try to survive, because like I said, this has been a rough year for us. We've lost a ton of money, and it's really been stressful and difficult. And when I look at it, it's like, if I'd have stayed home and every day put $100 in a fire and burn it, I would have lost less money than this year has gone so far. So that's the level of stress we're dealing with, and we're going to try to go away from that and market these other companies, get them off the ground. So tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about the different selling channels that I look at and kind of break down what the pros and cons that I see with each one at the surface anyway. Of course, what you see at the surface can be much different once you get into it. So we'll talk about that and see where some of this leads. I don't know if I'll do a video tomorrow night. I've got a friend coming over from Miami area to spend the day with me and talk business, and then we'll resume on Friday. I'll see if I can get in here early in the morning, get a video done before he gets here though. So anyway, time to get to work.